Hello, everybody. So, this is the last of the series, but I promise you I will make more on when it comes to faux gemstones with the Pardo Jewelry clay. Before I get into it, I have a few things to tell you. Apparently, the Prima Marketing is discontinuing the blue opal magic mica powder. So that is really unfortunate because that was the main thing that I used to make the faux labradorite and faux rainbow moonstone. So yeah. Right now, Trish has none left in her stock. She still has a whole bunch of the other opal magics, but not the blue. And whatever you, hey, Zenta, glad you made it too. Whatever you can find, it is in my Amazon influencer store. So I guess whatever you can find there, it will be the last of whatever it is, or wherever you can find anymore. But yeah. So that is really a bummer. I ordered as many as I could afford because, hey, you don't know what else you can use it for. So, there was another thing that I wanted to announce, but I completely slipped my mind because I'm really upset. I had all my stones prepared to start this. Hello, Cecile. And I have no idea what I did with them. One of those can't remember uh, things. Anyway, but yeah. Um, if I remember and if I see them around, then I'll grab it. Because the thing was that I finally found a cabochon, and it was not just a plain Amazonite, but it was an Amazonite with azurite. Just a second, with azurite inclusions, which looks even cooler than the regular Amazonite. Now, hi Teresa. What is to be said is that the Amazonite, the very, very high quality ones, you can make it fairly decently too, but there are several ways of making it. And that is because some of the Amazonite has some patterns in it with some inclusions, and some of it is has inclusions that make the stone more valuable, and some of it has inclusions that make the stone less valuable. So yeah, you'll say, why didn't you already prepare your clay if you want? But well, because I kind of need to show you how to mix it, the proportions. And remember, with the Pardo, I don't like to do the whole, I'm going to make everything in a sheet and then cut and show you because it's so scarce. So once again, and that's the other thing that I wanted to say before I start. If you are not aware of this, whatever is in polyclay plays stock right now as Pardo Jewelry clay and art clay and mica clay go, that's pretty much all that is still left in the US because of the wrong way that Hobby Lobby and Michaels introduced this clay on the US market. It was a flop, and people were not able to realize what a beautiful clay it is. So now Viva Decor says, well, there's not enough demand in the US for us to, I mean, the Viva Decor representative, because you need to get like 800 of each color to invest so much money when there's only a dozen people who want it. So in the description of the video, there is a link with the petition we started. So if you can please go sign the petition if you want more of this absolutely gorgeous clay. And yes, I will show you stuff on how to do canes with it too, but for the canes you need the art clay, and that one is also not going to be shipped. So everything we are going to get is just the translucent lines. So yeah, let's get to business, and when I remember what else I wanted to tell you, I'm going to get to it. Okay, so the Amazonite has a very, very beautiful color. It is sometimes, I mean, it's got hues of turquoise-ish blue. Um, Sometimes it can be actually very close to Larimar blue. And I'm going because Hangouts does not allow me to switch from um, screen to camera. I'm going to actually bring out some images to show you. Okay, so let me make sure that I am showing the proper. And for this, I will not be able to see the chat. Okay, let me turn off the lights. Okay. Now, this would be pretty much a fairly decent quality Amazonite. You can see it does have a little bit of lighter color inclusions. This is an example of an Amazonite with inclusions that enhances the quality of the Amazonite, of the stone, because see, this would be a clear one, fairly clear one. And it can have a lot of translucency like these. And these you can see that they have, and it can have also a little bit of chatoyancy. The thing is that you have then the ones that have inclusions that actually kind of lower the quality of the stone. This is still a good one, but the ones that are not very good quality, usually you will find them as beads, pretty much. And you can see the differences in colors. They go from a greenish, turquoise-ish to a more bluish. It can also have azurite inclusions. These inclusions, if they were not in this specific arrangement, they would lower the quality of the stone, but because they are in this specific arrangement, they actually enhance it. Now, because Amazonite, excuse me, does not, except for very rare cases where you will find some chatoyancy, does not have flashes that are only in a specific spot of the mineral piece. You will find the Amazonite cut into more classic shapes, and the most favorite ones are, of course, the oval cabochon, and then the teardrop cabochon, like this one. Um, Rounds, you can find rounds. There's also another cut that's called, oh shoot, I don't know how it's called in English, pain de sucre. Like the way that they used to make the sugar. I should find one. And just to show more there you go. This is a pain de sucre. Hey, just a second. Okay. Um, so this would be a pain de sucre. This is a specific shape that is used for certain cabochons. And then the other thing that you need to take into consideration, and I'm so sorry I cannot find my little cabochon I had, then you can find it in a heart shape. On the pieces that have a certain degree of translucency, you will find the cabochons being fairly thin as thickness goes. In the cabochons that do not have a lot of translucency and or they might have some chatoyancy, then the gemstones will be cut fairly thick. You will find designer type cabochons only when there's a specific type of pattern of the inclusions, and or like in this case, they are obviously made to make earrings out of when a specific type of pattern is seeked out by the jeweler. But as you can see, there are, see, for example, in this type, this type of cabochons with inclusions, the inclusions will be opaque, and here you have more poor quality cabochon. The inclusions will be opaque, and whatever is in between the inclusions will be pretty much translucent, and that happens exactly like for the Larimar. Remember, with the Larimar, you have all that whitish area is actually opaque or opaque-ish. And hi, Doro. Hello, everybody who I missed because I couldn't see the chat. Hi, Chris. Is more opaque-ish, and the darker blue, the one that looks like the Mediterranean Sea, is obviously translucent. So let's go ahead and do a few of them. And I need first to, because I worked on something that you got. I didn't realize I had stuff here. Now, we have two colors of the translucent line that are awesome to use into making Amazonite. And those will be obviously the transparent blue and the transparent aqua. There is no real green in the transparent line. But what you need to remember, whenever you use these, they are exceptionally strongly tinted. Also, it is a translucent clay. That means that it will be way whiter. Hello, Anna. That it will be way lighter when it is raw than it will be when it is baked and cooled, because the Pardo, the translucent, the same as the Cernit translucent, when it's raw is white. It does not become transparent until it is baked and cooled. If you have a piece of translucent that you repeatedly bake, every time you'll put it in the oven and it gets hot, it will get back to white. And then it will reverse to a translucent state only after it cools down. So we definitely will have to, number one, we'll make 3 different mixes of this. So we can have 3 different hues of that beautiful Amazonite type color. Should you use the Amazonite of the line? You can, and there is some Amazonite that is greener, but you will have to make a very, very, very slightly tinted mix with translucent transparent. So to begin with, we will make some 3 mixes of the aqua and of the blue in the transparent line. We will use, and I'll go grab some other stuff. We will use some of bluish and a few other colors I will bring here in a minute to make some inclusions as well. But you will see that it is fairly easy to make Amazonite in several styles using Pardo. And they come up just beautiful. So I'm going to not even bother about the pieces that I have cut out from them, so I can cut pieces that you can see how much I cut. So first, let's grab, I'm going to cut straight into the line. See how the translucent comes with these lines. So we are going to make 3 different combinations. So I'm going to cut straight on the line so it would be easier for you to do the measuring. And yes, the translucent lines, you can still find it. You'll always be, hopefully, be able to find it. So I'm going, remember, if you didn't watch the how to condition Pardo, I suggest you go watch how to condition Pardo, because we need to condition it on a very thin setting. So I'm going to first cut thin slices that will be a bar's worth. Out of each of the aqua and the blue. So out of these, we will make 2 of the mixes. And then I will cut half a bar. Again, going to make me a little notch here to know where to stop cutting. And I did follow the line, but still. And one of the mixes, we will make it half and half. So got thin slices of the aqua to the middle of the bar, and then thin slices of the blue to the middle of the bar. And yes, these little boxes are absolutely fabulous to store stuff in them. And yes, we will make a lot of cabochons with these, because after doing this, we will mix them with translucent transparent. So I'm going to already match the half and half. And then these I will condition them separately, and then doing one 2/3 and 1/3, you know, the combinations. In one of them, 2/3 of the blue, and in one of them, 2/3 of the aqua. So there we go, and I'm going to switch to the machine. And always go on a thinner setting. You never want to condition Pardo on a thicker setting, and you never want to condition Pardo on a thick slice. You always want thin slices. Okay, we're done. Hi, Carrie. Now, how do you know if you blended them enough? Even if there's not a lot of transparency while they are still raw, you can still check in the light. If you see any kind of difference of color, that means you did not blend them properly yet. Excuse me. Okay, now let's go with the aqua. And then continue with the blue. Okay. Now, let us go for dividing it. They're approximately equal. In this, you don't have to be absolutely super precise, okay? So we have about, this would be about 1/3, and this would be about 1/3. So all I'm going to do is to swap them and then proceed into mixing them. It doesn't usually take too much because they are very close colors. So hey, sorry, I didn't realize. Okay, I'm not going to go all the way because we are going to mix them with translucent, so that's going to be okay. Bonjour, Dominique. Just real quick to say it in French, what I did. Donc, j'ai mélangé, j'ai pris du transparent bleu et transparent aqua de Pardo translucent transparent, translucent. Et j'ai fait un mélange de moitié bleu et aqua. Ensuite, un tiers bleu, 2 tiers aqua et 2 tiers bleu et 1 tiers aqua. Now, we roughly have 1 bar in each of these, correct? And they would have to look way whiter in order for us to get this color when the clay is baked and cooled. So we will have to mix it, and we'll make actually 2 different types of mixes. Just to, you know, imitate that specific slight variation of color in the crystalline makeup of the stone. So I am going to actually mix let me see how much. First, 1 bar of translucent in each of them. And this is the easiest way to do it. This is a tad thick, but it should still work. Sorry if I'm mumbling. So simply cut very thin strips and place them on the sheets that you already have conditioned. And I always have to check 3 times if I'm... Yeah, see, I was not using the proper one. This is mother of pearl. This is not translucent. This is how you can get all messed up. Because I put it out just for making a little bit of inclusions. Let me grab a translucent. We have gotten something interesting looking, that's for sure. But that's how you can get fooled by Pardo transparent, because it's white. Okay, this is transparent. Goodness gracious. Yes, and under this light, it looks exactly the same. And this one is an older one and doesn't have, or it's a newer one and doesn't have the bars. Let me find one with bars. Well, I guess I'm completely out of the ones with bars, but we can take a measure from the other one. Let's see. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. But just waiting for the paperwork on some stuff. And then we'll discuss differently. No, they are not. This is the Amazonite. This is the Amazonite. It's very different. And Angelite, or sometimes it's also, depending if it's in Europe or US, it also has on the label Anglesite, is this. And these have very, very little translucency, and Angelite also have pearlescence. We are going to use this one for inclusions. But if you want to use the Amazonite, you need to use like 1/10 Amazonite for 1 part Amazonite for 9 parts translucent to get that Amazonite greenish hue. What I have used is translucent blue and translucent aqua. No problem. But yeah, not all what happens, some of the colors in the jewelry line do have gemstone names, only that sometimes it's not the most common version of that gemstone. Some of them have different versions of that gemstones, because, for example, you have blue aventurine and green aventurine and yellow aventurine. Au revoir, Cécile. Bonne nuit. It's late in France. Um, but some of them don't really, because, for example, the obsidian is a fairly translucent dark brown. Well, yeah, obsidian can be like that, but the most common obsidian is black. Let me think. Or you have jade, and then you have lavender jade. Lavender jade is not a very common color, right? And I'm trying to think of another. The rhodochrosite is very good. The topaz is fairly good. Ruby. Red fire opal has absolutely nothing to do with fire opals whatsoever, but it's a beautiful color. The coral, both the regular coral and the foam coral are perfect, as I did in the first, I think it was the first live of this series. But not all of them look like the most common found variation of that specific gemstone. That is to be considered. The same as, for example, platinum is white pearl. It's not platinum color at all. Okay, let's do our mixes real quick. again, remember, you can check how well you did by putting it in the light. And see here, I still need to mix a little bit. Try and get the perfect angle, because come on, you stupid camera, because here it's obvious that it's whiter, and then I have a few spots that are still whiter than the others. I have the no, I don't. I have it on my wish list. I mean, not on the Amazon wish list, but on my Polyplay wish list. Because I intend to do some turtle shell canes in several jewel-like variations for little turtle pendants and necklaces. Okay, that's pretty well mixed. And now the last mix of the translucents, we are going to actually get half of each, and in that half mix another a bar of translucent. So I'm going to actually place this into, because it's easier to manipulate when it's a little bit thicker. Now you see why I didn't want to have my clay already prepared, because what I want to show you and what you need to notice is the color of the clay, how it changes. After we finish the live, do me a favor and rewatch it and stop at the how the clay looked before I started putting translucent in it, how it looked yeah, that's cool. How it looked after I mixed the blue and the aqua together, and then how it looked after I mixed them with the 1 bar of polymer clay, and then how it looked after I mixed half of it with another bar of translucent. Did I say a bar with polymer clay? I'm sorry. You know, I told you I have them on my wish list. There's 2 that I absolutely have them on my Polyclay Play wish list. Is that one. And then there's one that's got, I forgot the name of it, but it's got like Tahiti tribal mask and stuff like that. It's all tribally. There's that one. Then there's another one that's got all kind of Celtic stuff. I think that one is oak forest or something. and the sea turtles. But yeah, the thing with the sea turtles, as I said, I want to make some stuff with sea turtles, and actually there's two things. One will be with canes, and one will be with mokumegane, to obtain all kinds of beautiful effects for their shells. Because if you look at the mold, at the best flexible mold, there are separate the shell and the thank you, the shell and the legs and head and stuff. So you can make them in pieces, and I'll also show how you can make them without a mold. So don't absolutely have to have the mold. Now I'm going to say it again. I said it in when I did the project for the Pardo lapis, because I kept getting questions about it. If it would be okay to mix Pardo with Primo, because Pardo is so hard to come by. And I'm going to say again, I don't think it would be. I mean, they have different, as much as it's okay to mix the other clays, I don't think that these ones would be okay because they have different compositions. Pardo has whatchamacallit, the beeswax. So, and I asked Viva Decor, and they said that they cannot guarantee the result and how, if it wouldn't affect the hardiness, the whatever. So I don't know. I personally do not advise. If you do it and if it comes up good and no customers come back to tell you that their piece of jewelry broke a week after they bought it from you or the first time they wore it, that's fine. And please let me know. Yeah, I have the mother. Don't forget on the last passes to do that thing that removes the um, plaquing. And if you didn't watch the video on my website, you can find it in the Pardo tutorial thing, how to remove plaquing. What you do, and that's valid for Primo as well. You just slightly fold here, and then you let the rollers grab. You can do it even with the crank machine. You don't have to necessarily use a motor machine, but you keep them separate. You don't fold them. You keep them separate and let the rollers put them together, because that way it will pretty much not trap so much air as by putting them together. And again, checking. It looks okay. Here, I know I have here a little bit, but this is just a difference of thickness, so it should be just fine. So I'm going to get ahead and go ahead and do these other two real quick, and then we can move forward and do the first cabochons. Okay. So now we will do a plain clear piece of Amazonite. And for this, a couple pieces, not just one. For this, we are going to take and see how the huge difference. I don't know if you can realize how big the difference it is in color. So we are going to take a little bit of each. And then I'm going to just fold it in two. Of each of the mixes, including the darker ones. Not enough for this one. And you notice I get a little bit more of the lighter ones than I get of the darker ones. I got, I didn't get one of them. I didn't get this one. And this will be the clearest we can get. Carrie, if you go in my Amazon influencer store, you will find the itty bitty bowls that I actually found at Big Lots. If you have a Big Lots in your town, you can find them there and they are much cheaper. But these are, they come 3 or 4 in a package. At Big Lots they were $2. On Amazon they are like 5 or 6. But yeah, they are beautiful to cover stuff with. And this is what I used to do, that little millefiori that's full of the stuff we did. And I have quite a few of them made on this. Okay, so all we are doing, remember the lapis tutorial? This is all we are going to do a very, very, very fine chopping. Now it's going to go a little bit harder at the very beginning, but the good thing about Pardo is that it is a firmer clay. Firmer, it's not as firm as Fimo or Kato. But yeah, and as Teresa says, and I get a lot of stuff from the thrift stores. I have a whole bunch of little bottles. And by the way, yes, I have been planned to show you how to create a polymer clay bottle without having to keep the bottle inside, or any other kind of shape that you want to create without having to keep the baking blank inside. Oh my goodness, 11. Makes me think of 101 Dalmatians. Yes, I am working. No, I didn't reply to a question I hadn't seen until now. Yeah, I'm working. If you go on my website, I have enabled discussions, and if you're a member, you can participate and put suggestions for tutorials and all that. And somebody actually asked about the rainbow obsidian, and I said that yes, I am working on that. It's on my list. But as you know, I couldn't work a lot lately. I had to take care of other crap instead of making tutorials. But yeah, you know, at least now I know that I won't be worried about, you know, putting up a tutorial because I knew that somebody's going to take it and fly with it. Now they'll be relatively safe. A cereal size? Yeah, I have some little bowls that are, I think, for cereal. I found at a thrift store that I essentially use for feeding my cats because they were in a big stack of 20. And they are that kind of, remember that type of, I don't know what it is, but it's not ceramic. It looks like ceramic, and it's dishwasher and microwave safe. And it looks like really good china, ceramic, whatever. I forgot the name of it right now. But I love them because I use 4 bowls a day to feed the cats their canned food. And having 20, that means that I don't have to wash bowls every day. I can just rinse them and put them in the dishwasher. And I have enough bowls for 5 days because I have 20 of them. But yeah, the little spoiled things. Yeah, your pit bull is gorgeous. I love the eyes especially. Now, in this one, you can go ahead and do what I'm going to actually do in the next cabochons. If you want to add just a little bit of inclusion, mix about, as I said, about 1 part of angelite to about 5 or 6 parts of translucent, and do a pile with that as well. But don't go all over the place with it. And we'll do the same thing as I did with the lapis, but be very careful what I'm going to do now here. I'm going to actually see how I have some that are darker and some that are lighter, obviously. I am going to actually mix 2 light ones, half and half, and half and half. So I still have several piles. But I'm going to chop them again together. Remember, now I have two different colors. In Primo, it would be easier to figure out what you're doing than in Pardo, but trust me, the result is by far inferior. And we'll try making a Primo Amazonite too. Okay, so we got one light ones. So I just randomly mixed one of the light colors with another light color, just little bits and pieces. Pretty much the way that you saw me doing it in the lapis. Oh yeah, that's going to be a lot. Hi, Deborah. Good morning. I'm sorry. You know how I'm looking more at what I'm doing than at the chat. I usually catch what's at the very bottom, and only when I stop to do something, from doing something, I will go back and check what happened. Okay, so now I'm going to take little bits of the darker ones and mix some. The same way. Because what we are trying to do here is to imitate the crystals. And hopefully we'll get a translucent enough one. Okay, now watch this. These are lighter, these are darker. Okay, make sure that I get everything. Okay, so lighter and darker. Need to make sure that they are very, 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 very finely chopped. Normally, I would advise you to, after you do the mixes, to let them sit for about an hour because the Pardo is still quite warm from the mixing, and if it's still warm from the mixing, it might still stick a little bit, so the crumblets won't be as fine. Okay, so I'm going to got a pinch of the light, going to place a little bit of the darker. Then I'm going to take another pinch of the light from another pile. I'm going to use a little bit of the darker. Then a pinch of another light pile. So I'm kind of building a stack. And that's the problem with Pardo, as I said, it's kind of hard to see what you're doing because of the fact that the translucents are fairly whitish. And just grab all your... Now we are going to do another thing. After gently pressing them in, and you know what I always like to use is my little acrylic block, because that way you don't want them to mix. You just want them to be very well pressed into each other. I'm going to try and make the camera focus so you can see the very, very, very slight differences that you can still see in the, but we'll see more when I'll cut it in half. See, there are tiny, tiny differences of hue in it. And then we are going to make, actually I'm going to mold, I'm going to get the scalping mold. And why the scalping mold and not a cheap, more expensive one? Because the scalping mold is not very deep. And also it has one of the shapes that normally Amazonite would have. So let me make sure it's perfectly clean, and I'm going to rub it with some Armor All. And the other thing that I kept telling you is to be very careful. Whenever you put Pardo in a mold, never go too fast. Don't press it too fast in because it's going to crack. You'll have cracks. So, yeah. Yeah, it does. So, I'm going to turn it inside out and pretty much prepare it for the mold. You want to kind of always prepare the Pardo for the mold a little bit. And again, don't go too fast. Go slow. And yes, we can reuse this. This can be reused. We'll just chop it again. And check for cracks. And have a little bit of issue here. You can go over very gently with the roller. And then grab it and cram it again in the mold. On Pardo, using your fingers is the best because remember that it gets softer and more pliable as it warms up because of the beeswax. So you'll be more likely to be able to fill the whole mold better if you just press with your fingers. And I'm going to have another shave. And again, we will use that. Come on, get off my finger. And now it is perfect. Now remember, you'll want to come back to this after it is. To make donut beads. You make donut beads with this. Or cabochons. I actually like sometimes to just do a bead like this and then put a small, you make a bead and you cut it in two and you put like a secondary cabochon. You have a pearl inside the another stone, for example. But yeah, you initially that's what they are made for donut beads. And I think that should be on the Polyform website a tutorial on how to do that. And again, I'm going to make sure it's nice and warm and kind of prepare it. And checking, yeah, I still have a few. And this is because I didn't press enough when I made the stack. I'll have to make sure that I press harder. And then I make the stack on the next ones. We have an interesting barometer here. So it affects a little bit my hands. And then again, place it gently in the mold. Can you use something else? Yeah, you can, but you won't have as good results as you would with your finger to make sure that everything goes where it should go. Yeah, it's perfect. Okay. Oh, it's pretty good now. It's nice and shiny. No, hold on. Before I go to put these, I need to make these because we are not going to waste any clay. So as I said, we just chop some more. And yeah, we will do tomorrow the box. No worries. This is not instead of the box. Or let's just flatten it. Where's my... Now, remember for the best translucency with Pardo. Oh, in the northwest part of the city, it was horrible. The houses got flooded. So just a faux pearl. No, I have a mother of pearl. There's a mother of pearl tutorial, but you won't find it on YouTube anymore. It's on my website only. So remember, always use the inside. It's a mother of pearl, mother of pearl. And I left the, whatchamacallit, the project. I should have them. Let me see if they are here. Yeah, they are here. I'll show them. Yeah, this is the Primo mother of pearl. And this is the Pardo mother of pearl. Come on, Miss Camera. Yeah, we'll be making a box, a jewelry box. People asked for help with, after that, faux burl wood. Yeah, this is the, so this is the Pardo mother of pearl. Pardo is absolutely, you cannot tell the difference. Actually, what I did for the sanding, especially the sanding part, I have now a rock tumbler to help with the sanding of beads because it was horrible. Buffing is not so hard because you can just put a toothpick in them and then hold them while you buff, but the sanding part was absolutely horrible. And I'm in the process of taping a tutorial on how to use the uh, rock tumbler with polymer clay. There is also something that Cindy Leeds has done about the okay, of the uh, what was I saying? Yeah, Cindy Leeds has made a tutorial on how to use the rock tumbler for, and it does sand cabochons as well. The cabochons came up nice and soft and smooth and not soft, smooth and all that. So, and now I have them in with tiny ceramic bowls to see how well they buff. But as I said, I will make a tutorial on that. Yeah, I know what you're saying, and sometimes I used to also sand the skin on my fingers, and the problem is because I have nerve damage, most of the time I don't really feel with the tip of my fingers. So I wouldn't figure out that I'm sanding the tip of my fingers until I would see the trail of blood. So yeah. Okay, so even this one is pretty. So for the faux, if you want to make pearls, yeah, pretty much what Teresa said. But what I would suggest on top of that, try and find cosmetic mica powder because the Pearlex still has, the mica powder is still a little bit too big to fool the, I mean, if you look at it from 2 yards away, yeah, it might fool you, but when you look closer, it won't. You need the cosmetic grade mica powder for the mica particles to be small enough not to actually see them when you look at your work. Okay, now I am going to take a break. It is 1:24 where I am, and before I take a break, I'll remind you how to bake this. So bake it at 300 Fahrenheit and then put it, as soon as the oven dings, put it in water with ice cubes in it. And then go with sanding. Actually, I'll do some of the sanding here and the buffing here. So I will see you, as I said, it's 1:24 now, and I will see you in 45 minutes. And I'm going to bake these for half an hour. Okay, I will see you for part 2 in 45 minutes. It will be 2:15. And I will post the link on my Facebook page, but you'll probably see the notification popping up. All right, so see you in a little bit. Bye for now.